A new chapter is about to begin. Ferrari has made a major move by bringing Lewis Hamilton on board. Two of the biggest names in Formula One, both legends in their own right, are now teaming up with one goal in mind: to dominate once again. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc is determined to clinch his first world title. But the real question is, can Ferrari bring the firepower needed to shake up the grid? Since the middle of last season, the team has been gaining momentum, and heading into the Australian Grand Prix, they've introduced key upgrades to the SF25. But was their preseason testing just a smokescreen? Did Ferrari have everything planned from the start? Loic Serra, the team's new chassis technical director and the mastermind behind the SF25 project, sheds some light on what to expect. He describes Albert Park as a fast yet tricky circuit, featuring both high-speed sections and tight corners. But what makes this track truly unpredictable is the weather. Temperatures can shift drastically in under an hour. That means engineers will have to be sharp, making constant adjustments to the car's setup throughout the weekend. One of the biggest challenges in Melbourne is tire management. Since the circuit isn't used year-round, the track surface keeps evolving throughout the weekend. As more rubber gets laid down, grip levels change significantly, making it crucial for teams to adapt their strategies on the go. Adding to the complexity, weather forecasts suggest extreme heat on Saturday, followed by a high chance of rain on race day. This could shake up the competition and force teams to rethink their approach. Speaking about the preseason testing, Ferrari's position wasn't easy to evaluate. The SF25 showed glimpses of strong pace but remained somewhere between the second and fourth fastest car on the grid. Despite the mixed results, Loic Serra remains confident in the team's progress. He emphasized that the testing in Bahrain was highly beneficial, even though conditions were far from ideal. The team managed to complete their entire planned program without major issues, and the car demonstrated impressive reliability. One of the key takeaways from testing was the strong correlation between track data and simulator results. This alignment is crucial in modern Formula One, as teams rely heavily on simulators to fine-tune their cars. If Ferrari can translate this consistency into race day performance, they could be in for a competitive start to the season. In Formula One, standing still is never an option. Ferrari team principal has repeatedly emphasized that the moment a team feels comfortable, they start falling behind. With that mindset, Ferrari isn't just focused on the Australian Grand Prix, but also on maintaining steady progress throughout the season. The key to success will be continuous performance improvements, ensuring they remain competitive against fierce rivals. Looking at the immediate challenge, the contrast between Bahrain and Melbourne will be significant. Bahrain's unusually cold conditions during testing made it difficult to gauge the true performance of the SF25. Now, in Australia, the late summer heat will put an entirely different kind of stress on the car, particularly in terms of tire behavior. By the end of the race weekend, Ferrari will have a much clearer picture of where they truly stand in the pecking order. Loic Serra, stepping into his first season as technical director, has a lot riding on this debut. He played a key role in developing the SF25, carefully considering the unique characteristics of Albert Park. The track's street circuit nature presents a different set of challenges compared to permanent racing venues. Grip levels fluctuate, braking zones are tricky, and tire degradation can be unpredictable, all factors that could impact Ferrari's performance. One of the most promising aspects for Ferrari is the positive feedback from their drivers. Charles Leclerc, after testing in Bahrain, mentioned that the SF25 performed as expected, with no major surprises. This level of consistency is crucial, as it means the team's development work is translating well from simulations to real-world conditions. However, Ferrari knows that testing never reveals the full picture. The true competitive order will only become clear after the first few races. While the SF25 appears to have strong aerodynamic efficiency, there are still concerns about whether it can match the raw pace of its top competitors. Ferrari made significant efforts during the break between Bahrain and Australia, focusing on refining the car's setup. Both Leclerc and Hamilton spent time in the simulator, working through various adjustments to ensure they arrive in Melbourne with the best possible starting point. A key area of focus has been mechanical balance. Unlike McLaren, Ferrari opted for a less aggressive anti-dive suspension approach, prioritizing overall drivability over extreme setups. While this decision makes the SF25 more predictable, it remains to be seen whether it will provide enough performance to challenge for race wins. The first real test will come under the intense conditions of Albert Park. With the season opener just around the corner, speculation is at its peak. While McLaren has emerged as the early favorite based on testing data, the battle behind them remains wide open. Red Bull and Mercedes both believe they have the second-best package, but neither team is fully confident. Ferrari, meanwhile, has worked to eliminate the weaknesses that plagued their previous car, yet it's still unclear whether these changes will be enough to close the gap to the front. One thing that stands out about the SF25 is its impressive aerodynamic load. The car has been designed to generate high levels of downforce, which should help in high-speed corners. However, testing didn't reveal everything, as Ferrari appeared to play with different fuel loads and setups, potentially masking their true pace. There's a growing belief that the team held back during preseason sessions, choosing to keep their full potential under wraps until the first real race weekend. Another factor to watch is Ferrari's response to new FIA regulations regarding rear-wing flexibility. Technical inspections will be tighter in Melbourne, and teams suspected of pushing the limits will face additional scrutiny. Ferrari, however, seems unconcerned, as their design was already approved during pre-season checks. The team remains confident that they have stayed within legal boundaries while still maximizing performance. As the first race approaches, Ferrari's focus is on execution. The work done between Bahrain and Australia has been centered around optimizing the car's setup for the unique demands of Albert Park. Both Leclerc and Hamilton have been involved in simulator sessions, testing different configurations to ensure they hit the ground running from the first practice session. With a mix of high-speed straights and technical corners, getting the balance right will be crucial. One of the biggest questions surrounding Ferrari is whether they've truly addressed the mechanical weaknesses of last year's car. The SF25 features an updated front suspension design, moving to a pull rod layout that is meant to improve handling consistency. However, this design still requires fine-tuning, and Melbourne's bumpy surface will be a tough test of its effectiveness. Unlike McLaren, who took a more aggressive approach to their suspension setup, Ferrari has chosen a middle ground, aiming for a stable but responsive car. Despite some uncertainty, the mood within the team remains highly optimistic. The passion surrounding Ferrari is unmatched, and both drivers feel they have a strong package to work with. Whether that will be enough to challenge McLaren and Red Bull, however, is something that will only become clear once the lights go out on Sunday. With the first race weekend of the season underway, all eyes are on Ferrari to see if they can emerge as serious contenders. Preseason testing gave only glimpses of each team's potential, and now, under real race conditions, the true hierarchy will begin to take shape. One key factor will be tire management. Albert Park's constantly evolving track surface makes grip levels unpredictable, adding an extra layer of complexity to race strategy. The SF25's biggest strength appears to be its aerodynamic efficiency, but its overall pace remains a mystery. While Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton have both expressed confidence in the car's balance, the real test will come when they go wheel-to-wheel with rivals. Ferrari's engineers have been closely monitoring data from simulations and practice runs, making continuous adjustments to maximize performance for both qualifying and race day. Weather could also play a decisive role. Forecasts suggest fluctuating conditions throughout the weekend, with the possibility of a hot qualifying session followed by a rainy race day. This could shake up strategies and force teams to adapt on the fly. Ferrari, having prepared for multiple scenarios, hopes to capitalize on any opportunities that arise. As anticipation builds, the big question remains: has Ferrari done enough to challenge McLaren and Red Bull at the front? Or will they find themselves in a battle for the best of the rest? The answers will come soon as the Australian Grand Prix weekend unfolds. As the Australian Grand Prix weekend progresses, the competition intensifies. Ferrari, determined to make a strong start, is carefully analyzing every piece of data from the practice sessions. Both Leclerc and Hamilton are providing crucial feedback, helping the engineers fine-tune the SF25 for qualifying and the race. While the team appears confident in their setup, the true test will come when they go head-to-head with their fiercest rivals on the grid. One of the main talking points in the paddock is Ferrari's strategic approach. Unlike some teams that pushed hard during testing, Ferrari played it cautiously, focusing on long-run consistency rather than outright one-lap pace. This means their actual race performance could be stronger than what was initially seen in Bahrain. However, with McLaren and Red Bull looking sharp, Ferrari cannot afford any missteps. Another factor that could impact Ferrari's race is tire degradation. The SF25 has shown promising signs in managing tire wear, but Albert Park's varying surface conditions can create unexpected challenges. With the track gaining grip over the weekend, teams must be prepared for shifting dynamics that could affect their strategy. The ability to adapt quickly will be crucial, and Ferrari is hoping their preparation will give them the edge when it matters most. As qualifying approaches, the pressure is on. Can Ferrari put themselves in a position to fight for victory? Or will they find themselves chasing their rivals once again? The answers will be revealed soon as the battle for the front row unfolds. With the tension rising ahead of qualifying, Ferrari knows that every fraction of a second will count. The SF25 has demonstrated solid performance in practice, but the true test lies in delivering under pressure when it matters most. Both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton are focused on extracting the maximum from the car, aiming to secure the best possible starting positions for Sunday's race. McLaren and Red Bull have set a high benchmark, but Ferrari remains optimistic about their chances. The team's engineers have been meticulously analyzing tire data, weather conditions, and track evolution to ensure they have the ideal setup for the all-important qualifying laps. One of Ferrari's key strengths appears to be their straight-line speed, which could give them an advantage in sectors where overtaking is possible. However, the challenge is far from easy. The battle at the front is incredibly tight, with multiple teams capable of snatching pole position. A single mistake in the high-speed sections of Albert Park could cost valuable grid positions, making precision and consistency essential. Both drivers are aware of the stakes, knowing that a strong qualifying result could set the tone for a competitive race. As the cars head out for the decisive session, Ferrari fans worldwide hold their breath. Will the SF25 prove to be a front-runner? Or will they have to fight their way up the order on race day? The answers are just moments away as qualifying gets underway. With qualifying wrapped up, the starting grid for the Australian Grand Prix is set. Ferrari delivered a solid performance, securing competitive positions, but the battle is far from over. The real test comes on race day, where strategy, tire management, and racecraft will determine whether they can fight for victory or settle for chasing their rivals. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton know that every decision, pit stop, timing, tire choices, and on-track battles will be crucial. McLaren and Red Bull remain the biggest threats, but Ferrari is determined to capitalize on any opportunity. If the weather plays a role, it could turn the race into an unpredictable contest, where adaptability will be just as important as raw speed. The energy within the team is high, with the belief that they have made significant progress compared to last season. The SF25 has shown promise, and now it's time to see if it can translate potential into results. The Australian Grand Prix will not only mark the beginning of a new championship fight, but could also set the tone for the rest of the season. As the cars line up on the grid and the lights prepare to go out, one question remains. Can Ferrari rise to the challenge and take the fight to their rivals? The answers will unfold on track as the 2025 Formula One season officially begins.